18 years after Act 575 sought to introduce plant medicine to all hospitals in Ghana, only 19 facilities have it. This is because producers cannot meet demand. Odelia Ntiamwa reports it's likely the center will be converted to one of the one district, one factories. In my 3-inch high heels, I'm at the Center for Plant Medicine and Research. In this deliberately grown forest or arboretum are solutions to health conditions like prostate enlargement, with a prevalence rate of 8 to 60% in men between the ages of 40 to 90 years. What is happening right here is that each day some plant research is done and information is gathered traditionally from individuals in different communities. Here, the scientists from the Kwame Nkrumah University tell me 13 different plants are put together to cure fever, for example. In order not to replicate or try it when I go home, I am shown just 6 so that I cannot prepare it. And this arboretum is a plant going extinct in the wild because of the high demand for it by men who have prostate enlargement.
With the Croton membranaceous, it's a plant species that is being used to manage prostate enlargement. For now, it is very important to the center, that very plant. Its distribution is becoming rare because of the pressure on it for other medicinal uses known to people out there. Yeah.
The WHO says Africa can solve majority of its health problems through traditional medicine. The center is, however, worried this has rather been relegated, though Ghana, for example, can have a competitive advantage.
We have what we call the bioresource. We have varieties of medicinal plants that our ancestors were already using. If you travel to a number of countries, you can travel for about 50 kilometers and you see virtually 1 or 2 plants. It's not varied. But here we have a lot of different plants with medicinal values, and we have the traditional knowledge. They were plants that sustained our grandparents, our great-grandparents. We have it. And still, you go to the villages and other places, they are using it. And fortunately, the world is also moving towards the use of natural products. In the developed world that they have used a lot of these synthetics and other things, they are now thinking about natural products.
Investment into research from government currently is zero. The Center for Plant Medicine and Research is the only one of its kind in Africa that is a research and production center of traditional medicine under the same roof. Yet, government does not give the center any money for production or research. Act 575 was thus enacted in 2000, which sought to streamline the traditional medicine sector and to boost confidence in herbal drugs. Since then, the Food and Drugs Authority, for example, only certifies herbal drugs that have been tested by the center. With the law also came a requirement for herbal units at the various hospitals. But the Center for Plant Medicine and Research says 18 years after the promulgation of the law, herbal drug companies and the center cannot meet the demand. There are currently only 19 hospitals piloting the use of traditional medicine alongside orthodox medicine.
It has started on a pilot stage. The government itself, or the Ministry of Health, has a policy of integrating herbal medicine into the healthcare delivery system. But a lot of things would have to be put in place.
With the current drug list of 30 at the center, a drug list for the whole herbal drug sector will be needed before the integration into the orthodox medicine environment, and this is slow in coming.
We would have to develop what they call essential herbal medicine list, where we have standard herbal products that will be dispensed at various herbal various hospitals and clinics, right? They are still working on it. It's been a very slow process. And I think when that thing goes through. And then currently, I don't think as a nation we have the capacity to produce all the herbal medicines that will be needed in all the various hospitals. But like I said, a pilot program has started. Currently, you can get about 19 hospitals or clinics in Ghana that have herbal medicine unit.
Investing organizations are rather the ones benefiting from the research done here.
I'm working on a species, Euphorbia personae, with an American institution. They are trying to get an active compound in that plant called the resniferatoxin toxin. They are trying to develop into an emergency painkiller. So we, as a researcher, you have to reach out to other researchers, out there, maybe anywhere. If you get the collaboration, it's good for papers.
A number of bacteria have developed resistance to this modern or strong antibiotics, for example, Cipro, tetracycline, and all that. So a number of people get infected and treatment doesn't work, bacterial infection. Also, immunocompromised people, for example, people with HIV or AIDS, for example, it's very dangerous, in their situation because they can easily be overcome by these bacteria. So Center has, as part of its project or its activity, to develop a broad spectrum antimicrobial products that can be used for management or treatment of such infections. And our work has been able to identify a very good herbal product which is able to destroy a number of resistant bacterial organisms. And these organisms were isolated from clinics, or they are wild strains which are resistant to a number of antibiotics. And so that's what we are trying to do, so that we can get some products that can be used for treatment of such infections.
The Center for Plant Medicine Research sees more than 18,000 people in a year. Quite a number come from other countries as medical tourists. At the center, I bumped into the MCE of the district who thinks the solution will be through the one district, one factory.
Riding on government's one district, one factory policy, bring private sector involved, and we have started. It's ongoing right now in this room. Bring private sector on board to be able to inject the needed capital and investments into the production. Currently, managers make me understand that what they do now is more like a pilot production. So they research, they have several products, but they're just sitting on shelves. And if you go upstairs, you see lots of people lined up waiting for their medicines, which sometimes they don't have. Interestingly, I have one that I have adopted that I drink almost every night, the Lipia tea. I remember I was here 2 weeks ago and there was none. So that should tell you that the market is there, but the supply is quite down.
One of the areas the Assembly and its investors must look at is packaging so that people could travel with it. Odile Ntiamwa, Joy Business.